Welcome everyone. My name is Byron White. Glad to have you on today's 40-second content marketing webinar. Pleasure to be here with an overview of some new content analytics software that we have developed in conjunction with Mike Roberts at SpyFu. Mike, are you there?
Yep.
So good to have you back, Mike, for the 40.
Exciting. Today's a really good, really great day.
We're hoping to change and advance the content marketing revolution in a new direction. So we're really excited about today and some of the announcements and some things that Mike and I have been working hard on. So without further ado, let me tell you a little bit about today's presentation. We're going to go ahead and go through my deck here fairly quickly, I can assure you, and it will explain what we've done and why we've done it. We're then going to dive into the actual new content analytics feature of WriterAccess and take a look at it. And Mike then has put together a presentation as well that will talk a little bit about how he's empowered his company to use the technology, and to talk a little bit about why we think this is really exciting. And you know, we'll get crazy and interactive and field some questions. I would encourage everybody to ask questions using the question format where you just pound in a question. And while Mike's talking and going through his deck, I'll start queuing up all the questions and answering as many as I can live to you. But we really want to have a lot of questions at the end of this, so we're hoping you'll fire some questions at us. I'd like to actually only talk, Mike and I, for maybe 30-40 minutes tops, and then leave 20 minutes for questions. So that's the agenda, and without further ado, let's dive in and take a look. So we've already introduced ourselves, so we'll move right along. My name is Byron White, and Mike, you know, and what we're going to talk about today is really having people understand, first of all, what is content analytics, and why is it important, and how will it help me. Next, we're going to have some news. Of course, we've launched content analytics technology and software inside of the WriterAccess platform. And then we're going to take a live demo of the content analytics tool. And then Mike's going to chime in and go through a cool deck as well and chat. So let's see. Without further ado, if we were to sort of describe what content analytics is, I would describe it as technology that helps us make better decisions on what to write about, which keywords to use, what the hot topics are, and how to prepare content for SEOs appealing to the search engines as well as readers, and of course how to track the impact on the performance of things that you publish, to learn from that performance, to learn what worked and what didn't work. And typically content analytics, if you will, fits into about 4 of the 6 parts, if you will, of the content marketing workflow. Obviously, it fits into planning, where you're doing keyword research and trying to find out what matters from an SEO perspective, what keywords you should be using, what you should be writing about and talking about, and what keywords you should be using in that. With content creation, you have to, in the end of the day, give keywords to your writers to create all this great optimized content. And of course, that content needs to be optimized not just with the keywords in it, but with link strategy and appropriate H1 tags and lots of other elements, and like link building and tagging of content and all kinds of fun stuff. And then of course content analytics fits in with the performance side of it. How did my content perform? Did it improve my traffic? Did it improve my listing positions? So all of that is really centered around content analytics, and it's pretty surprising to me that there aren't any really content analytics tools out there that sort of fit across this whole platform, and that's really what Mike and I have taken on. So let's talk about content planning for a minute. Typically a content plan, as it's often referred to in the content marketing world, when you're putting together a content plan, you need to go research often tens of thousands of keywords. And then you need to, eliminate the duplicates and get rid of the irrelevant content that you would probably never write content about. Misspellings and other words that are just not worth chasing in the search engines. And in the end of the day, you filter all of these keywords down and make decisions looking at tons of data. like search volume and pay-per-click price and the difficulty to achieve top listings and all this cool stuff. And SpyFu makes it really easy to do this keyword research, which is one reason Mike and I connected many years ago and started talking about his analytical world and my creation world and how they really need to be tightly hung together. Typically, you do this great research and SpyFu, you can click an Excel button and it'll download all of the keywords your competitors are going after, all the keywords that it's finding that you're driving traffic from. It's pretty amazing what Mike's data crunching is doing over there. But, you download all this data into an Excel spreadsheet and then you try to use Excel spreadsheets to delete certain keywords. It's very tedious. It's a pain in the neck. But it has to be done. It's necessary. And then you give these keywords, to your writers to include in orders. And here is a sneak peek at a keyword bucket created using our content analytics tool over where you actually place orders at WriterAccess, and you can drag and drop these keywords and put in required keywords. So that's sort of what happens. You do this keyword research. You got to get the right keywords to the writers. Sometimes you do that with Excel spreadsheets, or maybe at WriterAccess you load it in. But then there's the content performance measurement nightmare. Like what weapon do we choose here to tell us what's going on? What research tools do we use? How do we measure performance? It's hard to do, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of time. So what we're trying to do is to say, let's really take a close look at what's happening here. The first step in all of this is I really wanted to go, when we began looking at all of this, I said, let's really go take a look at what our customers are doing at WriterAccess. Are they ordering, what kind of orders are they ordering? Standard, premium, crowd. We're one of the few platforms that allows people to order what I call real content. White papers, high-end content that takes a high caliber writer with experience and proficiency. That's content that maybe isn't so SEO driven, but we certainly offer a lot of that, and surprisingly that's a big chunk of our work right now. But most of our orders are standard orders. And then said, okay, how is our problem at WriterAccess? Revision requests. Do we not have enough good writers? And in fact, most orders go through with almost a 90% success rate without any revisions at all being created, which was pretty interesting. And then I said, okay, how are our customers finding writers? That's pretty key. And we just offered this new recommendation service, which is interesting. And we're finding a lot of our customers now are reaching out to us saying, hey, you guys have the expertise. Can you find these writers that know SEO or know my topic area, whatever the case may be? But the big thing we looked at and we discovered is there is still a pretty high percentage of orders going through our platform that have SEO requirements, about 55%. And surprisingly, 29% have both optional and required keywords, which is interesting. And 22% have required only and 4% optional only. So about 55% of our orders have SEO in them, which brings Mike and I together to say, look, is there any way that we can make content planning and optimization and performance measurement easy and all in one platform? And the answer to that, as of today, is yes, we can. And here's a quick screenshot of our new content analytics dashboard, if you will, which begins to show you some important things. And I'm going to talk about them when we get there. But in the end of the day, what we really wanted to make it for people is, number one, easy to set up, and number two, as free as possible, and number three, simple to use and simple to take action on, and driving everybody to use all this analytics for one simple reason: to quickly find the keywords that you want to use for upcoming content projects, so you're sure that all of the content you're creating is optimized, so it then performs for you. So that's the goal, that's the vision, that's what we're trying to do with those variables in mind. So basically, in seconds, once you set up content analytics, you can quickly find and save the best keywords for optimization. And I'm going to show this to you inside the platform, but here you can see that you're pulling data in that's powered by SpyFu. You've loaded in all your keywords, and you've set up, you can see pay-per-click price and the search volume for all the keywords via SpyFu, and you're also getting monthly SERP tracking, search engine result position tracking, in not only Google but Yahoo and Bing as well. And then we're crunching how much, what the trends are. If you're moving up in the search engines, if you've all of a sudden leaped into a top 10 position, or whatever the position is in the top 100, we want you to know that, because that might trigger you to want to use those keywords that are trending upwards into the next content batch. But we're also telling you is how much content you've created using that keyword phrase. Because again, you've loaded up your keyword assets and you've loaded up your keywords. We can now tell you, what have you used? What haven't you used? How can we help guide you to areas where it needs some work? So the net of it is you can find and save the best keywords and sort of hit the plus button, add button, and it drops it over into this keyword bucket you're creating. You're starting to get the idea of it now. But in minutes, you can also see, what's been published. We have integration in with WordPress and Facebook and Twitter. You can also load up content on this on your own, and the net of it is you can start seeing what you've published and page through these, click on that little I button, and quickly learn. You can actually see the post and the images that were attached to the post and all the keywords, all these 8 keywords that you see on the first line item here. You can see those keywords that you used in that particular post. And then when you save all these keywords and you save them in buckets, you can then access those buckets in at the actual place where you place orders in WriterAccess. So what we're really doing for everybody, hopefully, is making optimization easy, making performance measurement easy, and bundling this all together. And the big charts, the big 4 we call them, are how much content have I published, and in both on my blog, on a WordPress blog, or any content you've published if you want to load your own content in. We then have the ability to look at integration into Facebook and Twitter to actually pull from Facebook and Twitter all of your social media posts that you've posted on those 2 platforms. And we can then have integration in with Google Analytics, so we can see how my traffic has been improving or declining. We can talk about that in a second. And then you can take a look at your listing positions of how they've improved or declined. And hopefully they've improved. So we're showing you performance, we're pulling it all together, and we've figured out a way for you to get it basically for free. So it takes about 5 minutes to set it up. You're going to go load your keywords in, you're going to add in your competition, you're going to hook into your Google Analytics account, and you're going to set up a SpyFu account, which I'll talk about in a second with Mike. You then can integrate in with WordPress, Twitter, and Facebook, and that's it. And all you're doing is you're putting in your analytics or Twitter or Facebook information, your username and your password, and our technology is going out and pulling this all in. So you can start to analyze what you've published and what keywords you've used in that content. So you can start to take a look at performance. So Mike and I huddled together and said, okay, we want people to experience this, but I think they're going to understand that if they want monthly SERP tracking, if they want to track their performance, there's a cost for that. So Mike has graced us with a 60-day trial on all of this. So you can load it up to 1,000 keywords. For 60 days, we're going to give you all the data and suck that in. And hopefully you're going to love it, and you're going to see how easy it makes for you. But there is a cost to this, but that's the only part of it. When you look at everything else that's part of this, the tool itself we're not charging for. The plugins to your other analytics account, no fees there. The only cost is getting that performance data, which is critical and really makes the whole thing work. So you can get Content Analytics. If you go to WriterAccess right now, you can see that Content Analytics, there's a whole tab up there now that explains what I've just talked about. You can see also something quite interesting. We're opening up the floodgates to WriterAccess, so anybody can sign up with a free account for WriterAccess, which is exciting. For everybody that's tuned into this webinar, fear not, you'll be getting a free copy of my PDF book. It was so funny. I was excited to announce this in the webinar, and I got like lots of emails saying, when do I get the book? I didn't get the book. I signed up for the webinar. So thanks for your interest in the webinar. But without further ado, I want to go just take one quick peek and actually open this up to Mike and introduce Mike to the audience here. Mike, hello.
Hi.
So
that's some pretty exciting stuff. One thing I wanted to note there is that it's, I think that when you say monthly tracking, you mean weekly. I think we're actually tracking those keywords every week. Got it.
So we're displaying...
It's a habit, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, there's more data crunching than the world has ever known if they were to see what's happening over at SpyFu. But we're going to be reporting in monthly data, Mike, just so you know, over in Content Analytics. I would think, although that's interesting. I haven't thought about that. Maybe that should be weekly. Yeah, I guess it's weekly. Okay. Have at it. Why not? Right? I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and in any case, once you go over to SpyFu, you can see it weekly, and you don't necessarily have to make that change on your side.
Let's dive in.
But your data would be updated on a weekly basis.
Cool. Awesome. So let's go into the actual data point that Mike was talking about. And go look at some of this data real quick. I just want to give everybody sort of a quick 2-second tour, a couple minutes, and then I'm going to turn things over to Mike.
Muted.
Take your time. This is the good stuff right here, demo.
This off. Okay. All right, cool.
So it looks like you got a trend information there.
Okay, cool. So let me first go to WriterAccess. So everyone's logged into WriterAccess right now, let's say, and you're looking at, wow, where's this new Content Analytics? So there's a button up top here that says Content Analytics, and it brings you over into your Content Analytics world. You'll see there's a little widget that you can go through that will get you set up very quickly, and I would suggest it takes about 5 minutes to set things up, including SpyFu, which is really, you're just putting in your email address and you're getting a 60-day free account. So it's simple, it's fast, it's super easy. Mike and I have worked really closely together in developing all this stuff, so I can't thank Mike enough for all his support in all of this. But one of the key decisions Mike and I made with regards to SpyFu was we wanted WriterAccess customers to be able to just sign up for this fast and easy right from the account balances they have. So you don't need to go anywhere or do anything. Everything's right at your fingertips. You're just really plugging data in saying, hey, give me access to WordPress or Twitter or Facebook, or yeah, I want to try this SpyFu thing. So it's super simple to sign up. Once things are set up, all these charts rather quickly populate with data. And some of the data we're going to go into, there's really not a lot to see. We've really stripped this down and made this quite simple. The first thing you're doing is you're hunting for keywords. You want to go see how your keywords are performing. And Mike's providing some global positions for us here that allow us to very quickly see how we're trending in the search engines, what's trending up, what's trending down. I can go look at search volume statistics very quickly. I can go look at pay-per-click prices quickly. I can go look at how many content assets I've created using various keywords in my profile. And I can find keywords using this data very quickly, and I can add those keywords to keyword buckets. Keyword buckets are really the key part of what Content Analytics is all about. We want you to be able to bounce around from all your different keyword buckets and create new keyword buckets if you want. We want you to be able to clone certain keyword buckets or rename them or delete them. So the action, if you will, is really over here in keyword buckets. You're doing your research and looking and diving into the data in a lot of different ways. And you can go look, for example, at your traffic trends if you want, pulled in from Google Analytics, and go look at your top performing traffic keywords that were driven to your website, and look at how many assets you've created on those assets and make decisions to add certain keywords to your buckets. You know, that's really what you want to do as you're studying your keywords. We've also built what we call a scoring device that sort of triangulates some data and gives you our recommendations on which keywords we think you should go after based upon the performance. And we can get into a whole explanation about that, but the net of it is we look at certainly what the pay-per-click price and the search volume is, but we're also looking at how many assets you've created already for that particular keyword phrase, and its trends with your improved listing positions. So if you're trending upward and you don't have a lot of keyword assets created and it's got a high search volume, you'd want to know that. So we're trying to build in some scoring methodologies to guide you to the right keywords to use for content creation projects. So that's how the keywords. Yep. Yeah, please.
When you're building these buckets, right? How is it that you're using the buckets when you're creating an actual article?
Awesome. So you click back on WriterAccess and you go to Place an Order and you fill out that groovy new order form we've just created, and you see magically when it comes down to the area where you put in keywords and required keywords, and you can grab any of your buckets. So here's that content analytics webinar bucket that I created a second ago, and you just choose to grab these keywords and drop them in. So you're scattering.
This is brilliant, right? Because you're by just having this bucket right there. I mean, ultimately you can do your keyword research, and then and by the way, you'll be able to do your keyword research over on SpyFu and get the stuff over into your keyword buckets over here. But you know, now, like when you're creating your content, you can just choose those keywords right there on that interface, and it's like, that's just like ridiculous amount of, you know, time savings and productivity creation. I think that's awesome.
Thanks. And thank yourself too while you're in the thank you mode, because you're making this making this possible. So back to analytics. You know, you get everyone sort of getting a feel for the keyword aspect of it. But here's some other fun stuff related to content. So, you know, when you're out brainstorming with content, or you know, you're trying to figure out, I can't remember what I published, you know, it's like I can't remember if it was optimized or not. So, you know, this is a really quick way. You can, first of all, you can load in the content that you've published in the past if you want. There's a way to do that. Or if you are plugged into WordPress and you're using WordPress, the API integration will actually pull all of your past posts right into this platform. So it's just boom, it just sucks right in, and you can start seeing what's going on. So if I want to go back to April and look at my content assets that I've created, it's starting to keep track for me for all the keywords that I've used, and I can go in and look at any of these content assets and actually see them and start seeing some data on the keywords that I've used. So we're trying to bring as much information in front of you as we can to make decisions with what to write about, and you know, and what's going on. We do the same with your social posts.
Can you do that again? Can you do that again? Go back to that. If you click on that, those keywords are right in that view. So you click on that thing and you scroll down, the keywords that you are right there, right?
Right on.
That's all that data. That's awesome. Right next to the content. That's perfect. Nice.
So,
I never noticed that. Never saw that. I haven't seen that part. It's pretty cool.
The other thing you can do, check this out, is I can click on 13 here, and it opens it up and shows me all those keywords. Okay? Nice. So I can look at PP size search volume, and I can add those over to my bucket. So I can say, hey, you know, we had some success with some keywords like ghostwriter service. Like, that's actually really important. I'm 34. I want to pound that this month, right? So forget these keywords. I want to go after that keyword. And I haven't written that many posts about that particular particular keyword phrase. So I got to jump on it. Matter of fact, we should add the column in here now that I'm looking at this for how many content assets we've created with each of these keywords, because it's kind of like right in your face right there, and it's a good place to put it. So, you know, that's really, there's really a science to this. I think that's the important thing for everyone to realize here. optimization shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be working with spreadsheets. It shouldn't be working, with pure data, around you. It should be working within the content platform. And that's really what we've tried to do. And it is pretty exciting if you think about it, everybody, because there really isn't anything like this out there. I mean, I challenge anybody to mention a platform out there that's bringing analytics and the content creation right into one piece. Everybody knows of, sure, there's Kapost and other platforms, but no one's gotten close to this, and it is pretty cool stuff. All right, so believe it or not, that's the demonstration. We've made it simple to use. We've got some exciting reports coming up. We're working with Mike on that. He's got some killer reports like the Recon report. We're going to try to develop some new content reports over in Content Analytics that sort of show you a little bit about how your content's performing and what impact it's having, and steering you in the right direction with recommendations on which keywords you should use in your next content order. So we're doing some really cool stuff, but without further ado, I want to get Mike in the loop here big time, and so Mike, over to you.
Awesome. That's super exciting, and I'm basically going to talk to you guys about, now I'm going to show my screen now. Basically, I'm just going to quickly introduce myself, I suppose. Obviously, Mike Roberts, founder of SpyFu, and I'm going to talk to you about basically where we pick up when you create an account here, the content analytics side on WriterAccess. You're effectively using SpyFu to track the positions of those keywords, but the other stuff that you get is actually a full all-you-can-eat SpyFu subscription, and this is really a relatively seamless platform because you can do keyword research in SpyFu, as you may know, and then integrate that content, integrate your keyword choices back into WriterAccess so that you can then create content. On the flip side, you can all the keyword tracking, all your keyword buckets that you use on WriterAccess will then show up in SpyFu, and there's a few additional things that you can do, a little additional value that we're going to add. So I'm going to cover those integration points, and then I'm going to give you a couple of case studies or examples of how you can use SpyFu to help you identify the content to write. I feel like that's really Byron has solved this problem of building a content army for you, so that you can make 1,000 articles in a week if you like, instead of 2. Or I don't know. If it were me, I'd be able to write like 1 article a week. But using a process, you can really build out any niche that you want really quickly, or build content like for your actual blog, depending on what you're doing. If you actually want to build stuff for your real branded company, or if you want to sort of build out niches and then direct traffic, I'm going to kind of show you both ways of going about that. And I'm experimenting with a bit of a new format. I don't really like having to go from slides to demo, and I feel like people like the feedback I've gotten is that basically demos are better because you want the actual navigation. So I'm going to do pretty much all this stuff live on the site. Real quickly, let me tell you what SpyFu is in case you're not familiar with it. SpyFu, you can type in any domain name and see every keyword that they've ever bought on Google, every ad variation that they've ever run over the last 6 years, and every, most importantly for this webinar, every organic ranking that they have, every organic keyword that they have, and every ranking that they've had anytime over the last 6 years. We also have SEO reports designed for selling SEO. They're designed to first get your customers and then to retain them. We position them specifically from a sales perspective. We only tell your customers good things. It's sort of our spin on SEO reports. Without
hey, Mike, one quick question for you, Mike.
Let me just jump to, yep.
We had a question that somebody asked coincidentally as you were talking right there, and it said, "How do I know what keywords I should target?" Right, and one of the things people really need to understand is the true inner gospel and brilliance of SpyFu is that with one click of the button, you can export all of the paid keywords your competitors are going after and all the organic keywords that your competitors are driving traffic from the search engines. That is so consequential and such a massive time saver. The answer to that person's question, Kristen's question, is exactly that. You know what keywords to go after because you have research tools like this that quickly tell you what your competitors are going after. You still have to make decisions as to which ones you want to go after, but that's really more of a subjective decision saying, we want to target these. The reason is it's because they have high search volume, or because they're high pay-per-click price, or because we think we can create great content around these and quickly capture top search engines, right? But you need the data. You make the decisions based on the data. Once you make those decisions using SpyFu, sucking keywords out in Excels, and then you just drag and drop them into content analytics, and then the rest is easy because now you can see the performance of what's going on all the time. But you still need to make a subjective decision, but you use a SpyFu to find those keywords. Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, no problem. I'm actually going to go through at least 2 different ways that you can choose the right keywords. Because I think that's sort of, it kind of drives the content a little bit, because ultimately the keywords are representative of what people are searching for and how much value those searches have. And really, keywords are kind of an interesting sort of meta thing. But anyway, I'll actually go into that quite a bit because it's pretty much what we do. And we've got, obviously, you can download an entire domain set of keywords, but you can also just see, you can drill into their blog or, actually literally any article and see which keywords that article rank on. And in addition, when you're selecting the content to sort of emulate, you can look at the social metrics. All that stuff's on SpyFu. Well, let me just go into it, okay? So when you add these keywords to WriterAccess in those buckets, right? Byron is showing you that platform. You've got you add in the keywords in the buckets. Those all show up here on SpyFu under Live Weekly Ranking. So if I were to create a set of buckets, AdWords, pay-per-click, keyword, etc., all those show up right here, and that's under this tab that you see at the top of SpyFu. You can also here through this navigation. Okay. Now I've got all these windows pre-loaded because sometimes GoToWebinar messes up my my internet connection and things just get weird and slow down and sometimes don't load. But I'll try to do some of this stuff live. And so I would drill into, let's say, the keyword. The keyword is one of ours. Let me drill into AdWords here. So I get in here, and what you see is all of the keywords. And when you click on any one of these, you can see its entire history. Oops, that's the actual cat page. Well, actually, that one's not available, apparently. You click on this, and it pulls up all of that history. So I've been tracking this one for quite a while. Not a whole lot of movement on it. We're pretty much sitting in a pretty good spot on that particular keyword. Let's see if I can find one that's got some movement. History of keywords, maybe. So you see that you've got Google, Yahoo, and Bing. And so that's where those things show up. Now you see here that you can also share these, all these rankings. Now what'll happen is that you can send a customer these keywords, or anybody internally, and they don't actually even have to be able to log into SpyFu in order to view this page. So it's handy. You can send this right out to your customers, and they can look at it any time and at their leisure. You can also, if you want to integrate this into your month-end reports or whatever, we have a printable version and a PDF version of this, and it's not just this data, not just this high-level data, but we give you the entire thing. So you can see each individual keyword and the details and the ranking and all those. Okay, so pretty straightforward, but also, you know, this is kind of the nuts and the bolts of tracking your keyword ranking. So let's see. Oh, one other thing here in terms of the integration points is that this is one of the keywords that I saw Byron had up, ghostwriter. So we can drill into this keyword, and you'll see that any of these keywords that you find in this related keyword area, or actually up here, you can just add that to your SERP tracker. Select your domain, so we can put this into SpyFu, or I could put it into WriterAccess, which would actually make a little more sense. Select Byron's group, and I've got two groups for him, report 1 and report 2, because as it turns out, we've run recon reports for Byron. And so I can add it right there and start tracking it live. You can do that anywhere where you see this track SERP thing. So any of these add buttons will do the same thing. You can add it to any of those reports, and then that stuff will end up showing up in your WriterAccess buckets, right? Because these are exactly one-to-one mapped. You can create new buckets here. Those new buckets will show up in WriterAccess. So that's a pretty cool integration point, right? You can use SpyFu for exactly what SpyFu does, doing a keyword research and identifying the right articles for you to write, and then take that and seamlessly integrate it back into WriterAccess. And you don't lose anything inside of SpyFu. You're still tracking it in SpyFu. You can use those client reports. Everything works seamlessly. It's just added value. Okay. Another way that you can actually put data into WriterAccess is like when you're browsing an actual domain. So here we are, we're looking at WriterAccess. In fact, we could even drill into an individual WriterAccess post, and we can look at, okay, look, here's how much, here's their ranking on each of these keywords. Here's the actual ranking difficulty of those keywords. Here's the cost per click if they had to buy it on, if they had to buy it on Google AdWords. The number of estimated clicks that they're getting from this position, and then ultimately the total value, right? This is our estimated total value of per month of that article. So we can just take this keyword if we want to like emulate this keyword, add it right back into WriterAccess. And remember, you don't actually have to you don't have to select WriterAccess. I could do this for SpyFu, select my keyword, AdWords, the keyword, and run this way, right? Okay, so those are your integration points, and there's actually many of those. If you go under Keyword Smart Search, if you go under, let's see, Keyword Groupie, various places you'll find SERP Tracker, Track button, and you can add in keywords back into WriterAccess. So it's a pretty seamless integration. I don't know if Byron's even seen that yet. You haven't seen that yet, have you, Byron? Are you there?
I have not. Yeah, I had muted myself, so when I spill my glass of water, you won't hear it. Although that hasn't happened yet.
Oh yeah, good.
But yet I have not. Right. I have not seen.
So now I'm going to walk you through. I'm going to walk you through a case study. I'm going to actually do sort of 2 quick case studies. I'll kind of breeze through these pretty quickly because, you know, I want to make it so that we have at least 15 minutes here. But I want to give you 2 good solid angles to figure out which contents are right. And basically that goes back to that first question about, you know, which keywords to use and which content, and ultimately by proxy which content to write. So one of my, you know, a quick example here is, you know, let's say that I just want to like find an itch, right? And just to start, I'll look at, you know, who the biggest AdWords spenders are. to kind of narrow down a niche. And obviously education is a big sector. Turns out that they spend on Google AdWords alone about $1.1 million a day, $350 million a year just on AdWords. So interesting space. I look in here, okay, some of these guys, Classes USA, Education Connection. I've seen Education Connection ads on TV. These guys aren't actual institutions, right? So it's kind of an interesting thing. They must be doing something else, and it turns out that they're doing purely lead gen for, for like DeVry and Phoenix, University of Phoenix, and so on. Actually, those two probably have a lot of their own lead gen built out, but whatever. They're doing lead gen for various things. So I go and I look at this site, which is like $100 million a year business. And I'm like, geez, it's just like, I don't even know, Shannon Doherty, like kind of a crappy picture, and like, I don't know what this is, right? This is like something I feel like, this isn't rocket surgery, right? I can maybe pull this off, right? Then I look at this other one, Classes USA, and they're literally using clip art. I just feel like I should destroy them somehow, right? So I go in and I start drilling into this, looking at Classes USA, and what I would have done here would be to type in ClassesUSA.com into SpyFu. I drill into ad history, and what I'm seeing here is their most profitable keywords. Now, I know that Classes USA, just by looking at this here, is getting almost, you see the green on this? There's 0 green. Green would be the organic clicks per day. They're generating all of their $100 million a year in revenue by doing pay-per-click advertising. Okay, they're driving all of their. They're not driving all of their ads using pay-per-click advertising. They're doing a bunch of different advertising, but they're not doing anything with organic. So I kind of want to build some content that's going to compete with them to take a piece of that pie, right? So I look at what they're doing here, and I look at grants, and I type grants in here to zoom in to sort of find like something more like a niche. And the reason I chose grants, by the way, is because I think that it just sort of stood out to me and looked kind of interesting. And then I look through here, and I'm like, okay, college grants, those are sort of broad, going to be kind of broad. And I look in here, and I'm like, oh, look, grants for single mothers. That's kind of specific, single mother grants. So maybe I'll click on single mother grants here, and that'll take me over to the actual keyword page. So here, I look at it, and it's like, okay, it's 1,200 searches per month, $6.65. Pretty decent keyword, something that I could build a piece of content around. I look through here, I see the Classes USA and Education Connection have been successful on it for quite some time. They've been buying it and spending a decent amount of money. So I think that it's probably a successfully converting keyword. So let's see what kind of content is doing well. So I look at the organic search results, right? You got WikiHow and LinkedIn in here. Probably not really good examples for me to pull from. But then you got Single Mother Guide and scholarships. So I'm gonna click into Single Mother Guide and see what that piece of content looks like, or what it looks like in SpyFu. So when you look at this, you see that they're ranking #1 on single mother grants and all these things, all these other keywords, and you can drill in and see all of them. These happen to be the most important, highest value ones, so we order everything that way. And ultimately, they're driving about $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 worth of traffic per month on this one keyword. Now again, remember you can start tracking these keywords if you wanted to right here inside of WriterAccess and inside of SpyFu. I also want to take a look at its sort of social metrics, and it's pretty well shared, not a bad piece of content. I would then take a look at the actual content, and I look at this guy and I'm like, wow, it's it's kind of a thorough piece of content, right? This is relatively difficult for me to completely. I mean, it looks like it's maybe 1,000 words or more. It's not impossible, but I'd probably also go back and take a look at, you know, at this number 4 piece here. So I'd drill into this, and oh look, this one actually drives even more traffic. This is actually even a more higher value keyword, not necessarily outranking that one. It's not outranking the other piece of content on that keyword, but still a pretty good piece of content. And I can drill in here and see what the competing pages are doing, and this page from a social side. Basically, I think that the social metrics here are rather than sort of measuring how many backlinks something has or how good they are at SEO, it sort of is a better measure of how good the piece of content is, just as an objective measure. So I kind of look at, oh, is it a good piece of content that I want to sort of emulate? So I go in and I look at that, and then I'll actually look at that page. This looks like something that's, you know, eminently, you know, I can definitely do better than this, or at least as good as this, right? So what do I do with this, right? I go into WriterAccess after I probably are tracking some of these keywords, and I build myself a piece of content, right? And here's the actual spec that I would use. I say, I use 4-star. What do you think, Byron? 4 stars good?
Sure, bring it on.
Is that what you like?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I choose a blog post. I choose education. I look at that and I figure out how many words it's been. It's about 550 words. So I probably need to jack this number up here. I would probably add it to some folder, right? But ultimately, I build this really pretty straightforward project description. This is in order for an article on the same subject as the provided URLs, where you're looking for a brand new article but taking the same approach. Target audience is single mothers interested in education grant. Now, I could actually produce a piece of content like that in like, what, 5 or 10 minutes? I do 100 of these a day nearly, probably 50 of these a day, and have goals from WriterAccess in less than a week, right? Probably 4 days. So that is one angle for producing content. And ultimately what I want to do, because I'm not sure that everyone on this call has actually, I think many people on this call have not actually seen WriterAccess results, because I was personally, before I actually did it, not sure whether I would be able to produce content of a quality that's high enough that I would publish it to my own blog. Now, granted, if I was building out some education pages where I just want to rank on like some single mother grant stuff and drive traffic and do some sort of arbitrage or whatever I'm doing, affiliate marketing of some form, whatever, I don't really care that the content like really fits with my brand or messaging or is something that I would, like, for example, put my author tag on, right? But I'll tell you that the content that you can create through that platform is actually better quality than I can personally write. It's really good stuff. So let me give you an example. I ran through some stuff with our site. SpyFu does pretty well on some keywords that work for our industry. We drive, I guess it's not pretty well. Actually, we kind of suck at sort of eating our own medicine in this sense. But we could be doing better, I guess, is what my point is. But we're driving, a couple $1,000s a month in traffic to SpyFu on targeted keywords. The market probably consists of about $50,000 in potential traffic, so we're capturing some piece of the pie. Our blog, on the other hand, is doing relatively poorly, $100 in traffic, or maybe $200 in traffic if we drilled into the long tail of this. So I'd like to improve it. Oops, demo failure. I'd like to improve it, and one of the one of the sites that does a really great job in our industry is WordStream. I've always admired their blog and their content creation. In fact, the way that I found out about them originally in terms of their sort of content marketing discipline is actually they ranked on our brand with actually a pretty okay, this is like a reasonable blog post, but really super straightforward, right? Interested in SpyFu, you might like WordStream. So I was like, man, got to check these guys out because that's kind of clever what they're doing here. So anyway, I drill into their content, right? I drill into like their blog, and I find a piece of content in here that would work well for me, right? Google Traffic Estimator is a good set of keywords. AdWords Traffic Estimator. These are all great because we provide the same sort of data that Google does in the Traffic Estimator, but of course ours is better in every conceivable way.
Right on, Mike.
Literally we're displaying Google's data, but making it more searchable and able to filter by your competitors and see what they're finding and ranking on stuff.
Exactly.
So it actually just is better in every way. So the thing you can do here is sort of look and see, well, when did this piece of content start ranking, and how is it affected by Panda and Penguin? And the way to do that is like click on this history here. This is what I did. Click on this history, and you can scroll back, and this is that 6 years of ranking history. So we can see exactly when they published content, really, or when they started ranking at least, and whether or not they were affected by these freshness, quality, new features, etc. We're actually plotting your content, everybody's content. This is like not just these guys, right? This isn't something that you have to enter in the keyword in advance. We're tracking every single keyword for every single domain for every single page, and we have it going back 6 years. So, and plot it against the Google algorithm updates. So anyway, you can drill into that and see if it was negatively impacted or if it's some kind of spammy thing. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's pretty good. And I'd actually look at the content, right, going through here. And one thing that I noticed is this is just by looking at the screenshots, is this thing is actually based on the old Google Traffic Estimator interface. Oh, so that's brilliant, right? So not only am I going to be able to emulate this content, build a similar piece, but I'm going to be able to build a better piece just having it updated. Ultimately, my goal is to build something that's slightly better. And this, to me, is a straightforward piece of content. I could easily make it, right? So I actually did this just using that same technique that I did. I took their piece of content and a competing piece of content, and I'm like, I want you to build me an article that's the same, but brand new. Like, it's take the same approach. I also said that I want you guys to provide, I want some screenshots, and I actually chose like the 5-star, I think, or whatever. This is actually a relatively expensive piece of content because I just wanted to see what I could get in terms of quality. I actually think I could ratchet it down, but I think this cost me $60. So let me just give you a quick tour of it. Maybe you can read this. Maybe I'll read it out loud. But this is not in any way cheesy content. This is exactly what I would expect like somebody in-house to write. And you can see that it's got screenshots included, solid screenshots, exactly the length. I asked for 650 words. I got 649. I mean, take a look at that, read it. I'm not going to necessarily read it out loud, but you can get a sense that the quality is pretty high. I mean, it's good stuff. So you can use this platform not just to sort of build, I don't know, microsites or something where you don't really care a lot about the super quality of it, but you can actually put this on your own site and feel really happy, really comfortable that that you're paying attention to quality. So that's all I've got. Sorry, I actually went, geez, about 10 minutes long. I suck at maintaining time. Sorry about that.
It's
but anyway.
well balanced with your insights, though, Mike. Hey, Mike, I got a question for you. It seems like you're getting your users closer to almost topic recommendations and what to write about using competitive intelligence. How hard would it be to think of Content Analytics 2.0 and getting that data inside of Content Analytics? Not to put you on the spot, but is it hard? Like, is it hard to do that?
I don't see it as particularly difficult. No, I'm sure we could do that.
Yeah, because that's the next pain point that we need to somehow solve, right? So we've done a good job of solving bringing keyword research into WriterAccess to the point where you're ordering the content, making performance valuation easy. But the next biggest pain point that everybody wants to know about in this marketplace is, what should I write about? Like what are my competitors writing about? And that's one big reason that we kept entering your competitors into Content Analytics. We want Mike to know, and we want you to know, and we want the data to begin analyzing the competition. And I think that's going to be the fuel that we use. For example, would it be cool if we could say, okay, what content assets are my competitors publishing that are using the very keywords that I'm going after? Like, wouldn't that be cool to know that? And then to go look at those assets and to say, give me one of those, but better, to your point, right? And then some interesting scoring going on. And how is that a future that you could imagine coming together, either in SpyFu, which it sounds like it already is. There's so much data in SpyFu, it's unbelievable, frankly. But how far away do you think that might be?
We just have to talk about it and see what. It's pretty doable, I think. Internally to SpyFu, it's something that I have to do and sort of integrate it directly into WriterAccess. It's not something that we have planned because we want to get this content analytics thing out and see how well it performs in the market. But I think I agree. I think that being able to just recommend a block of content and be like, here, build this. Here's 10 articles that we think that you should write. Yeah. Click go. That would be, I think, outstanding.
Mike, somebody had a question about analytics that I wanted you to dive into. They were talking about, encryption of keyword data and the problems that are going on right now. Basically, keyword data is getting masked, and that sucks, and it's killing things. One example of that, if you want to go back over to my screen, for 1 second, I just want to show somebody. I can go back myself, I think, or you can turn me back.
Claw back.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let me go back here for 1 second. This is kind of a critical question. Do you see this nosedive right here? These are the keywords that I've tracked. These are the 3,387 keywords. If everyone can see my screen, I assume they can. In February, were tracked with Google Analytics visiting my website. But Google tanked all of that over in March here. And Google is hiding that information on which keywords drove traffic to my site. The question that somebody has is that SpyFu actually doesn't hide that information. SpyFu is the secret sauce there, correct?
That's right. We actually aren't affected by that, whereas any analytics tools are, because the traffic's they're not showing you that information. But yeah, we obviously know where everybody ranks SERP, so
you can do the compilation.
Our estimates, of course, are not. People will click on different links. We use sort of a really sophisticated click map where we take into account things like how many ads are on the page, is there shopping, is there videos, and so on. But it can't possibly replace the actual clicks, but it becomes a really important triangulation point, because you have to account for that 25% of traffic that that you're sort of losing vision into.
Got it.
That's
going to be
not provided traffic.
Basically, everyone in the marketplace is suffering from this problem that you're seeing in this chart right here. Google is not telling you which keywords are driving traffic from your site. It's frankly, it should piss everyone off to be truthful. But anyway, so moving right along to some questions. Someone wanted to know what's the y-axis in this content document, and these are in the content assets published. These are the number of content assets that were published in the course of the month. So you can begin to see that we increased the number of content assets that we've published. Our traffic is getting better, and our listing positions, particularly for the keywords that we're targeting, and for the keywords that we've moved into the top 10. This content has improved our positions and improved our overall traffic. This line, this blue line, is going down because of the problems we just mentioned, so I won't repeat that. The frequency of posts has increased radically from us as well. June, I guess, isn't over yet, but for the most part, we're publishing about 135 tweets and about 120 Facebook posts. And we're publishing about 60 content assets per month, and this June number will come up, I think, in the end of the day, by the end of the month. So I just wanted to explain that to everybody. Let's see. What if my website is not on WordPress? Not a problem. We're working right now on having you XML the content in any blog or platform you have. And importing it into content analytics and into WriterAccess. We haven't cracked that nut yet. We were preparing for launch here today, so stay tuned if you don't have WordPress as your platform. Social performance, any plans for LinkedIn? Yes, definitely. Plans for sure. I'm not sure the timing on that, but we'll back at you, definitely on the radar screen. Let me see. Based on, were you able to...
You can see, by the way, social performance inside of SpyFu on any of those articles.
Interesting.
For LinkedIn.
For LinkedIn, got it. Very cool.
Yep. LinkedIn, Pinterest, Tumblr.
Entered late. Is this presentation available later? Yes, it is indeed. On WriterAccess, I do not see the buttons to access content analytics. That should be live by now. It certainly will be live. We were working on the configuration over to SpyFu. There was a couple last-minute tweaks that we're working on over there to actually purchase over at SpyFu and to get the free 60-day trial. So that should be up in a few minutes. Does it pull content from my blog articles on my website? That is an interesting question, because right now we do have the ability to feed an RSS into content analytics. So if you set up your RSS feed and dumped it into analytics, it would feed it. The problem with that is it doesn't get your retro stuff. It just gets from the point that you start the RSS feed moving forward. But that is a workaround to analyze content moving forward.
But if they have WordPress, right, they pull in the WordPress.
Yes,
right?
All they need to do is put in their username and their password, and it sucks in all their past WordPress content assets.
Awesome.
And it matches up, and it does instant analysis on which of the keywords that you've loaded into the platform are used in each of those content assets. So nice. It does the crunching on the fly as it brings the data in. What was that a 5-star writer for about $60 blog cost? You can check the pricing out of any of our pricing right on WriterAccess. Just click on the pricing tab, and you can go in and take a look at the content asset prices. And also, as mentioned, everyone, I believe, as of this moment, can get into WriterAccess for free. We took down our $50 sign-up fee, which is kind of radical for us. But we decided to do it because we wanted to show people this new technology. We want to show people the platform too. The platform is awesome. and we're proud of it. And so that's just a thought there. We had a thought about integration in with HubSpot. Absolutely. We're actually integrated with HubSpot right now inside of their marketplace. I think Ron had a question about integrating in with the HubSpot blog platform, and we just have to look at what API might be available to do that, but we would be more than welcome to do that. We have a lot of HubSpot customers. Let's see. Is there a white label version WriterAccess going to be ready next week? I think that Mark wanted to know if the multi-user domain name ability inside of Content Analytics is been built, and the answer is yes. When you load in Content Analytics and you set that up, you can set up as many domain names as you want. Mike and I were just talking about that a few minutes ago, actually, because we service, or yesterday, actually, I don't know, it's all a blur because we've been talking back and forth so much, but the net of it is we do have a, I mean, unlimited is a really strong word. We can ask Mike to define unlimited as much as you can ask me, but we want agencies to be able to use the platform, and we want to significantly reduce our prices if agencies are servicing 10, 50, 100, 500, thousands of domain names. We want to work with agencies that are super
unlimited, we're down. When we get to billions, we're like, let's negotiate billions. Yeah, tens of thousands. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so we're super excited about that. So there will be actually another plateau above the limit that we have right now, 5,000 keywords. If you're an agency and you need 100,000 keywords or just 500,000, or as long as, I guess Mike's saying, as long as it's in the millions, we can nudge our prices down and get tracking going on. And really what we're excited about is to...
keyword tracking will be fine. We'll be keyword tracking. I was thinking you were talking about number of domains, and it's side, and
yeah,
from that perspective, it's unlimited.
Yeah. So, I mean, Mike has tens of thousands of customers, and I can't imagine that we'd ever have more than tens of thousands of domain names that we're tracking. Of course, that'll be a good problem to have. Mike and I look forward to that. So,
sure.
But we are super excited about, let's call it a white label version. White label is a strong word. Our customers have to log into WriterAccess to place orders, and most of the agencies we're working with have in-house call them content strategists that are going in and placing the orders and queuing them up. So, and they're approving the content assets that come out. We do have some other customers that literally have created a version of WriterAccess, believe it or not. Go ahead, Mike. Did you have a question? Oop, you're breaking up a little bit.
I was saying, am I? That's weird.
You're okay now.
I was thinking that was you. Okay, good. If what they're looking for from white label is like without your logos and stuff like that, and what they want is actually ranking positions, then they can get that on SpyFu. It's all included in the same thing. If you want, you can give me presenter and I can show that again. It's just that printable piece that I showed during my demo.
Yeah, there's a whole conversation. We don't want to get the whole crowd involved, but there's super options that both Mike and I have for white label solutions. So go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
I don't know for sure if that's what he was asking for or what, but that's there.
Yeah, and there's also cool recon reports available as well on SpyFu, so everybody should be in tune with that. But I feel like we're
that offer one more time, Byron. The stuff you get the 60-day free trial.
Yep.
So when you sign up and you enter in your keywords, it's no risk. You cancel any time or whatever, and you get you can track 1,000 keywords for 60 days for free, and you get 100% unlimited access to SpyFu also. So it's kind of a clever. I mean, really, we don't actually offer that through SpyFu, and in fact, the number of keywords that you're able to track is more than any of the accounts that you can get there. And I actually think that pretty much everybody that's considering, really, it's kind of the best offer that you can get. Even if you just want SpyFu, going and buying it through WriterAccess is actually the best way to do it, at least just from a cost perspective right now. So thought I'd throw that out there and sort of reiterate it.
Gracefully accepted, although I think SpyFu is awesome, and anybody that's creating content should have access to the powerful tools back in there, and really should be going in there and digging and finding and hunting and doing the research necessary to make content marketing work. It's indispensable data back over in SpyFu, but it is cool to bring that data into a place where the content's actually being created. It makes it simple, it makes it easy, and that's why Mike and I have been so pumped about this presentation today, everybody, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. So a couple things. You're going to get an email in a little while that's a link to a recording of this webinar and a link to a copy of my new book, The Content Marketing Guide, roadmap, actually, sorry, although I did go through about 27 different names for the book, and I decided on roadmap mostly because the copy on our website these days is starting to talk about like a pit crew will help you, and you know, we went crazy with some language that you can see up on the site now related to race car driving. I don't know why. I'm not even a race car fanatic, but anyway, so there's some humor on that, but we'll be getting that out to everybody, and you can tune in, and but Mike and I and our whole team here at WriterAccess is really excited about this. We're giving free demos and tours of this if everybody wants a one-on-one. Our support team is helping people set up content analytics and answer questions. Everyone will be able to get a free trial into WriterAccess and content analytics now without having to pay the $50. We're going to support the heck out of this with live support, with chat and IM. So we really believe in the direction of where we're going, and we're super excited to have Mike as a partner in this. And Mike, thanks for tuning in today and talking with us about how we're bringing this all together.
Oh, thank you. I think it's going to be. I think it's really exciting, personally, and I appreciate the opportunity to join in.
Right on. Well, not only join in, but glue each other at the hips and see if we can both service customers together and frankly make their life smarter.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a tough challenge.
It's
and
instant value add for both of us.
Exactly.
Cool, both of our platforms.
So use it and tell us what's wrong with it, tell us what's right with it, and tell us how to expand it and make it better. And we'll look forward to that, and we'll definitely be doing another webinar on this, I'm sure, to give a better guide and some training on how to make it work. But hopefully 5 minutes to set it up, and it is a set it and forget it until you need to order new content again, and then boom, you dive in and see the latest and greatest stats, find your keywords quickly, boom, save them to a bucket, boom, go place your orders. So lots of really cool stuff. Very excited, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Mike, Yahoo!
All right. Good
Thanks.
job.
Right on.
Well,
thanks, everybody.
Congratulate.
Right on.
Take it easy.
Thanks again, everyone. Until next month, hope your life's a little smarter, better, faster, and wiser. Thanks for tuning into this content marketing webinar. Thanks. Bye.